Here is something nobody told you the day you turned 50 or 60 or 70. You are not just getting older, something else is happening underneath that, something almost nobody explains, and it is quietly deciding whether you feel strong and clear next year or stiff and tired. If you clicked on this because you are tired of feeling older than you think you should, you are in the right place, because by the end of this, you will know the 3 hidden things doing this to you and exactly how to shut each one off. Now, you have probably already watched a video or two on aging or energy or muscle loss. Most of them hand you one piece of the puzzle and stop there. This one is different, not because of some secret nobody else knows, just because it puts all 3 pieces together in one place so you finally see the whole picture instead of a fragment of it, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Here is the promise. In the next few minutes, you will learn the morning habit that quietly tells your body to hang on to weight, the exact movements that vanish first as you age and what to do about it, and the reason your muscles stop responding to food the way they used to, plus a simple fix for that one too. Let us start with accelerator number 1, and this is the one almost nobody talks about because it happens before you have even had your coffee. The moment you open your eyes, your body is already making a decision. Somewhere in that first hour, it is choosing whether today is a calm day or a threat day, and that choice shapes your energy and your weight more than most of what you eat later on. Here's the problem. A lot of us wake up and reach straight for the phone. Messages, news, maybe a notification that makes your stomach drop a little. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a rude email and an actual emergency, so it treats both the same way with a jolt of stress. On top of that, most people are already a little dry from a full night without water, and the very first thing they put in their body is caffeine, which is a stimulant stacked on top of a system that is already a bit stressed and a bit thirsty. Then they stay indoors under regular light bulbs for the first couple of hours, which matters more than you would guess, because natural daylight in your eyes early in the day is one of the simple signals that helps your body handle sugar and energy properly for the rest of that day. Skip that signal morning after morning, and your system runs a little foggier than it should. This is where it gets interesting, because none of this is about willpower. Your body is simply responding to the information you hand it. And right now, for a lot of people, that information says danger. Hold on tight to everything. Here is the fix, and it costs nothing. Give yourself 20 or 30 minutes before you touch your phone. Drink a full glass of water before anything else, coffee included. Step outside for even 10 minutes with your actual eyes exposed to daylight, not through a window, and if you have a dog or a porch or a short walk you can take, use it. If you eat breakfast, lead with something like eggs, yogurt, or a bit of lean meat instead of building the whole plate around cereal or toast, because starting with protein keeps your energy steadier for hours instead of spiking and crashing. And here is a small bonus most people never hear. Taking a short walk after you eat, even 10 minutes around the block, helps your body clear that meal out of your bloodstream more smoothly, so you are not sitting there while sugar just piles up with nowhere to go. Small changes, but stack them every morning and you are sending a completely different signal to your body. I want to give you one more piece of this because it trips people up constantly, and that is eating the moment you wake up. A lot of us roll out of bed and reach for food within minutes, out of habit more than actual hunger. Overnight, while you were asleep, your body had a quiet stretch of time where it was not dealing with a fresh meal, and that stretch matters. Eating the second your feet hit the floor closes that window early. You do not need to skip breakfast or force yourself into some strict fasting plan. Nothing that dramatic. Just give yourself a little room, get your water in, get outside for a few minutes, maybe take that short walk, and let breakfast come a bit later than the very first minute you're awake. It is a small delay, but it lets your body finish what it was already doing before you interrupt it with a new meal. Now, that was accelerator number 1, but honestly, the one coming up next might be the one that worries doctors the most because you cannot always feel it happening until it has already cost you something. Accelerator number 2 is the slow disappearance of certain movements. And here is the part that surprises people. This is not really about getting old. It is about a rule your body follows no matter your age, which is simple: use it or lose it. Somewhere in your 30s, your body starts quietly trimming away abilities you are not actively using. Nobody announces this to you. You do not feel it happen in a day. You just notice one afternoon that you cannot get off the floor the way you used to, or that a flight of stairs leaves you more winded than it should, and you assume that is just age catching up with you. It is not age exactly, it is disuse. And the wonderful part is that disuse can usually be reversed at almost any age if you start asking your body to do those things again. Let me walk you through the handful of movements that tend to go first. first and what rebuilding each one looks like. The first thing to fade is your energy system, the part of you that lets you climb stairs without gasping for air. A simple way to bring it back is short bursts on an incline, a hill, a staircase, even a steep treadmill setting. Push a little harder for about a minute, walk it off for a couple of minutes, and repeat that 5 or 6 times. You are not sprinting, you are working hard enough that talking gets difficult, and that is enough to start waking that system back up. The second thing to fade is basic mobility in your hips, ankles, and spine, the kind of looseness that lets you get up and down off the ground without thinking about it. Here's a simple test. Sit down on the floor, cross-legged if you can, then stand back up using your hands and knees as little as possible. If that is hard for you, you are not alone and it is not permanent. It is just a sign those joints have gotten a little rusty from disuse, and practicing that exact movement daily is often enough to loosen things back up over a few weeks. The third thing to fade is strength, particularly the kind you use to lift something heavy off the ground properly. Hips back, spine long, standing up by driving through your legs rather than your lower back. This is the pattern behind picking up a grandchild, a suitcase, a bag of groceries, or simply getting yourself up off a couch. Practicing this with something light, a bag, a dumbbell, even a loaded backpack, a couple of times a week tends to bring it back faster than people expect. The fourth thing to fade, and this one is genuinely underrated, is power, which is different from strength. Strength is how much force you can produce. Power is how quickly you can produce it, and that speed is exactly what saves you when you trip over a curb or a rug. You do not get a slow 3 seconds to recover your balance, you get a split second, and power is what fires in that split second. A simple way to train it is stepping up onto a sturdy low step or bench with intention, driving up quickly rather than strolling, then stepping back down with control. And the last thing worth checking, almost like a report card for everything else, is your balance. Stand on one leg for 10 seconds, no holding on to anything. If that feels shaky, that is useful information, not a reason to panic. It simply tells you where to put your attention, and it tends to improve quickly with a little regular practice, even just doing it while you brush your teeth. Let me tell you why this list means something to me personally. A few years back, I caught myself using one hand on the arm of the couch just to push myself up off the floor. Nothing dramatic, just a small habit, but it stopped me cold because I realized that was the very first domino, the quiet moment where your body starts asking for help it did not used to need. So I made a rule for myself: get up off the floor clean, no hands, every single time, and within a few weeks it had changed the way I bent down to tie my shoes, the way I lifted things around the house, even the way I got out of bed in the morning. That is the strange thing about these 5 movements. They do not stay in their own lane. Once one of them improves, it tends to carry into everything else you do during the day. Here is the honest truth behind all 5 of these. None of them require a gym membership or fancy equipment. They require repetition, a little bit most days, because your body genuinely believes whatever you keep asking it to do is worth keeping around. Now, before we get into accelerator number 3, which might be the sneakiest one of all, let me take a short break here, because I have to admit something. I used to think eating clean and going for a walk twice a week made me practically indestructible, and then one day I tried to get off the floor in front of my own kids without using my hands, and it was not pretty. So if any of what I just described sounded a little too familiar, you are in good company, and if this is hitting home for you too, go ahead and tap that like button. It genuinely helps this reach more people who need to hear it, and it costs you nothing but a tap. All right, back to it, because accelerator number 3 might be the one nobody warned you about at all, and it explains why some people eat plenty of protein and still watch their strength slip away year after year. Here is what is actually happening. As you move through your 50s, 60s, and beyond, your muscles slowly become less responsive to the protein you eat. Scientists call this reduced sensitivity a form of resistance, meaning the same plate of food that used to trigger muscle repair easily now barely registers unless you give your body a bit more to work with and a bit more variety. This is exactly why someone can eat the same breakfast for 20 years, feel like they are doing everything right, and still notice their grip getting weaker or their legs feeling less steady on the stairs. It is not a failure of discipline, it is simply that the threshold moved and most people never got the memo. The good news is this is very fixable once you understand it. First, spread your protein out across the day instead of saving it all for dinner, because your body can only use so much at once, especially as that sensitivity changes. Second, lean on protein sources that are easy to digest and well absorbed. Things like eggs, fish such as sardines or salmon, plain yogurt or cottage cheese, and if you eat less meat, options like lentils, beans, and nutritional yeast sprinkled onto meals can help fill the gap. Third, pair your protein with a little movement, Even light resistance work like carrying groceries or doing a few bodyweight squats, because muscle responds best to protein when it has recently been asked to do something. And fourth, do not overlook bone broth or a good quality collagen if joints and connective tissue feel stiff, since that is a slightly different building block than muscle protein, but it supports the tissue that holds everything together. None of this needs to be complicated or expensive. It mostly needs to be consistent, a little protein at each meal, spread evenly, paired with movement, and given time to work. Here is one more thing worth knowing, something doctors actually pay close attention to, and that is grip strength. How hard you can squeeze with your hand turns out to be one of the simplest windows into how your whole body is aging, because it tends to track closely with the strength of everything else: your legs, your back, your core. You do not need a fancy machine to check it either. Something as simple as how confidently you can open a stubborn jar lid or carry a full grocery bag in each hand without your hands giving out tells you a lot. If that has gotten harder for you lately, it is not a life sentence. It is simply your body telling you where to put a little more attention, and everything we just covered, spreading out your protein, pairing it with movement, giving your muscles a reason to rebuild, is exactly how you bring that back. So let us bring this together, because now you can see how these three things stack on top of each other. A stressed, dehydrated morning sets the tone for the whole day. Movements you quietly stop practicing start to disappear one by one. And muscles that are not getting the right kind or timing of protein stop rebuilding the way they should. None of these three are really about age. They are about signals, and signals can change starting today, not next year, today. Here is my honest closing thought, and then one more small laugh before you go. My own mother used to tell me that getting older was mandatory, but acting older was optional, and I rolled my eyes at her for probably 15 years before I finally understood what she meant. So if you take nothing else from this, take that, because it is true, and apparently mothers know things. If this helped you see your own routine a little differently, go ahead and hit subscribe, because I put out videos like this regularly, and I would love to have you back here. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these three hit closest to home, or which topic you would want covered next: sleep, joint pain, blood sugar, whatever it is, because your comments genuinely shape what I make next, and I read every single one. One more thing before you go: everything in this video is general health information meant to help you think about your own habits. It is not personalized medical advice, and it is not a replacement for talking to your own doctor, especially if you have an existing condition or you're starting something new. So please check with them about what is right for your specific situation. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.